Now, it's been a while since we've done an old school winged wet fly, so let's do one today. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Matt, thanks for stopping by. So I was flipping through Mike Dahl's 1985 Fly Tyers Manual. Now this is a really solid pattern encyclopedia with a little bit of history in it. And while it's a bit dated, it's still got some great patterns in it. And the one I found to tie today, it's called the Butcher. Now this was created in the early 1800s by a guy named John Jewherst from Tunbridge Wells in Kent, England. Now, he originally called the pattern Moon's Fly, named it after one of his fishing buddies, Moon, which, for the life of me, I could not find out this guy's first name. Every reference to it just called him Mr. Moon. But Moon was a butcher there in Tunbridge Wells, and it was his favorite fly for a while. And then in 1838, as kind of a tribute to him, they renamed the fly the Butcher. Now, there are several variants of this one. The regular Butcher has a black throat hackle on it. The one you're about to see right now is called the Bloody Butcher. It's got a red throat hackle. There's also a silver Butcher, and I even saw one reference called the Kingfisher Butcher, and I think the only difference from that one was that it had a kingfisher blue tail. Now, it's not a hard pattern to tie, but as with any of these old school winged wet flies, it can be a bit tricky to get the wings looking right. But with a little practice, even a new tyer can handle a fly like this, and it's a pretty cool tribute tying one of these 200-year-old flies. So I had fun with it, and I think you will too. Let's give it a shot. So there's one in the vise, a Bloody Butcher. Not too difficult of a pattern. And common sizes for this guy are 10 to 16. I'm going to tie it on the bigger end. This is a number 10, 1X long barbless wet fly hook. And I'm going to put down a base of black thread. This is a 70 denier. I'll take it all the way to the start of the bend. Now the first thing we're going to tie in is the red tail. Now you could use ibis. If you've got an ibis feather, great. If not, just use a duck. Use a duck quill, and the cool thing about it, you can use your scruffy feathers down here, the stuff you'd never probably make a wing with. So I just got a tiny little sliver here, and it's not real long, maybe a hook gap. I'm going to just tie it on right here, a little pinch wrap, kind of like it's a wing, but it's not, it's a tail. So let's make sure we're on top there, good enough. I think we are. So there we go, that's a okay little sliver of a tail. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I could probably just bury it, but I want to be careful because we are wrapping a tinsel body, and if we let it get away on us, we'll have too big of a lump back here, and that tail is twisting a little bit on me, but you know what? I'm fine with that. So let's tie in our tinsel, and this is silver oval tinsel. So it's this kind of stuff right here, and this is a size medium. And what I'd try to do is just strip a little bit of it off so you got that bare thread core. It might be a little bit thinner if you can catch it in with this thread core only. So I'm trying to be economical back here. I need to take it back a little farther than that. And let's get it caught in with, say, 3 good wraps right there. Okay. Now, you'll see I've got a little bit of a drop right there, a little bit of a step down, and it might give us some trouble in a second, but we'll see. So let's take our thread back up to the front and then tie in our flat silver tinsel. So this is a Mylar tinsel, and this is a medium, I think, or small. It's a size 14. I'm going to catch it in at an angle with the silver side toward the hook, so that when I flip it over to wrap, you'll see the silver side. And we're catching it up front so that we can wrap down and back up. So in the end, we'll have 2 layers of this tinsel. Go ahead and snip that excess off right there. I'm going to take my thread up a couple more turns where I'm going to finish off this body. Now we'll just wrap this down and back. And the cool thing about it, you don't have to be that careful going down. If you don't get them perfect, leave a little bit of black thread showing, maybe you got some gaps, you don't have to worry too much about it because we'll cover them up on our way back up. So just take it down to the back of the hook and then back up to the front. Okay, now when you're down to the back, just try to take it back up front. Hopefully we don't have too big of a lump back here in the back. Okay, now when you get it up the front, go ahead and catch this off. And I would put 2 wraps down before I let go of it. One of them I did a little while ago. I just put one and the whole thing unraveled on me. So there's 2 wraps. I'm gonna go ahead and put a 3rd one before I cut it off. Okay, I think that's gonna be just fine right there. Now I should have mentioned what a lot of people will do is put some head cement or varnish on those thread wraps before you wrap that up. Even a drop of super glue would work. I didn't do that, and I typically don't, partly because I'm just a little bit lazy. And you know, I'll probably lose this fly before it falls apart on me. So let's go ahead and wrap our rib up. Whatever you think looks good. I think on this size 10, probably 5 wraps is going to be sufficient. So let's take it up front. I think that's going to be fine right there. Catch this off with 2 or 3 tight wraps. Now for the throat, just some red. If you're making it a bloody butcher, then you want to use red. If you're making it just regular butcher, go ahead and use a black hackle for your throat. And this is just cheap strung saddle hackle, and I'm going to take about 15 or so fibers. Just these right here, and I'm going to flip it over and then tie them in as a throat. Probably maybe to the hook point, maybe just a little bit shy of the hook point. So let's do a pinch wrap right here and then take a look at it with 2 wraps. Okay, that might be just a little bit long, so let's go ahead and try to shorten it. That's why I haven't put too many wraps on just yet. So maybe just a hair shorter. Okay, I think that's going to be fine right there. Now we can secure this with a couple more tight wraps before we snip off this excess up here. Okay, I think that's fine. We could have probably put that a little bit thicker, you know, if you wanted it thicker, or just add another little bunch to it if you want. But I'm not going to worry about it. Now here's another tip. For the wing, take a hook, the size hook you're using, and then just, you know, grab the feather, the duck feather. We're going to do a black one. You can put it in right here and then just kind of pull it down, and that's going to be the size of a wing you want. So after you've taken you know, 2 little slips from a right and left matching pair, just try to get the tips in line right there, and that's close enough. I've got my thread hanging where I want the back of my head to be. I'm going to measure my length, I think about right there, midway through the tail, and I'm going to pinch these feathers close to the hook. I'm pinching the feather slips and the hook at the same time. Now I'll take a pinch wrap right there, and let's do 2 and then take a look at it. Is it coming off the top? Pretty much. They're not skewed too much on me there, so I think we can live with that. I'm going to take a couple of tighter wraps going forward before I reach in here and snip these off. Maybe 1 more tight wrap right there. And now let's see how close we can snip these off to get us a clean head. Okay, that's probably going to be close enough. And this is probably the point where you might want to singe these or take a lighter to it and melt them real quick. I don't, because I usually mess up the fly when I'm doing that. So I'm just going to try to bury it and then call it good enough. Make a, you know, a nice decent sized head. It's going to hold a fair sized drop of varnish or UV resin. I think we'll be just fine. So we do have a little bit of rough feather right there. What you can do is lick your finger and then try to push that up. And I think we're fine. I could probably even go a little bit bigger on this head, but I'm gonna just go ahead and wet finish it right now, and then we'll see if we have any cleanup. So I think we're fine right there. I'm not gonna worry about any cleanup. I'm just gonna put my UV resin on right there and then call this guy done. So there you have it, a really old school winged wet fly called the Bloody Butcher. Pretty fun to tie, not too difficult. So I appreciate you watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.